to pick back up where we left off, that we realized at the onset of pandemic that the best way to face the challenges was to build a network where we could come together, a caring network where we could share and we could capitalize on our strengths and definitely pool together our resources. And we learned a lot from leaders in the forum, leaders in this group, that leadership that is interactive and participatory, that invites collaboration and credits others by listening, by empathizing, always gets the best out of the team, right? And getting the best out of the team begins with getting the best out of ourselves. So the part of self-care became really important for us in the forum, and just being there for each other, networking, and it's worked out so much so that we're here a year and a half down the line, and welcoming new leaders every day, and we couldn't have done it without you and believing in this community. So today we're here to recap and take some perspective on some of the objectives that we have accomplished together and continue to build on some new ones. I'm going to pass it over to Gabby, who's made this incredible presentation. I always say she's my better half. She can always put into a visual these very complex and elaborate concepts that go on throughout the year, and she really brings it all together. Gabby, thank you for all that you do.
Not at all. I think Andrea always appreciates it because she's such an artist that she loves visual things as well as I do. But I think, as she said, it's been a difficult year, and part of the intention of the forum is for us to be able to create community, as she said, give support to leaders in the educational field throughout different parts of the world, share best practices, because definitely something that has helped people overcome all the challenges that this year has posed has been certainly the part of gathering strength from others, and certainly an attitude of collaboration. And I think it's been beautiful because this last year and a half, and as Andrea said, I went a little bit down memory lane, and I have that picture in the center. You might recognize some of the faces there who are still with us now, maybe different haircuts, maybe different.
More gray hair or some more new wrinkles have appeared. And look at me, I'm wearing the same dress commemorating the start.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
That's so telling of new beginnings.
Yeah, not everyone who participated is in the picture because not everyone had their camera on, but I loved finding that first picture, and it's been a journey, and that's part of the pictures we have all around, the people who have participated and shared their knowledge, shared their know-how with others in a time of need, and just that, you have all contributed to this. And we certainly also wanted to take a moment to remember, someone who was founder of our forum as well, and who passed away this year due to COVID. And who was a wonderful human being. He completely shared in the vision and the objectives of the forum. He really believed in it. He was always so cooperative with this, and we just sadly lost him in this year. So we also wanted to remember him, because we, every one of you has become an important part, of this small community, and everyone who's joining now, it's also welcome. And we just, we're passionate about education, right, Andrea? And we're just very grateful to get to know different people around the world who are as passionate and who believe in this, even through this difficult time, no? So,
agreed, Gabby, you couldn't have said it better.
Anything? What?
Yeah, no, you couldn't have said it better. And I love seeing Hitesh here, as you said, one of the founders who's shared so much with us at the start of the forum, and so nice to see so many of you returning, and the newcomers. We're so happy to have you and embark on yet another new year together, new sense, filled with sense of hope, adventure, and of course, ready to face the unknown as risk takers that we all are. And here we are. Here's our panel for today. We intended the session today to be more of a conversation, less of a formal presentation, but certainly in wanting to continue with the spirit of sharing best practice and capitalizing on our strengths, is that we asked each of you to bring to the table one of your reflections and thoughts on reopening, a best practice perhaps. And then after this, we'd split up into little rooms where we could discuss in more detail some of the concerns or the challenges that you might be seeing in the year up ahead, so that we can maybe act in a way sort of to prevent or to be prepared for this unknown, for the unknown scenario. Yeah. So
Yeah, and we also, I mean, we're going to record this because we got a lot of people who were in touch with us who were very regretful about the fact that they couldn't get, live today, but they really want to just hear from what's happening. The feedback that you give is very valuable to them, and they just asked us to please make sure that we had the recording so that they can participate at least from distance. And in this case, as Andrea said at the beginning, in the case of Diego and Tatiana, who are going to join us for that dialogue, that we call this a round table, because that's what we want to create, no? A space to dialogue. But they were not able to due to complications for health at the last minute. So we hope everything is okay with them. And I think that's it. What do you think, Andrea? We go with the next thing?
I think so. No, I think we're all ready. If anybody has anything to say, comment, use the little sidebar. And Gabriela's put all the slides in order, so you'll see yourselves pop up, and that's when you know your turn is next. With this, we welcome Tom, Tom Wingate from the Wingate School in Mexico City, the one that's up there in the mountains with the beautiful pink flowers and the views of the lake. Thank you so much for always sharing those with us. They warm our hearts, Tom. Welcome, Tom and Vinay, correct? Are they both?
That is correct.
Coming on together, right, Gabby? If you wanted to show Vinay's slide
yes,
as well,
of course.
so everybody can identify him as coming from the same school. And here we go.
We're about the same age, okay? I just want you to know that, all right?
More or less, couple of years.
Welcome, Vinay. We welcome both of you. Thank you for coming in a team. Together we achieve more, yeah?
Indeed. Well, thank you very much for the invitation. Tom, let me turn to you.
I'll kick off then, Vinay, and if you'd like to slip in, I'll just say, in terms of best practice, I think a lot of the things that have been said are very timely, very wise. You can't give what you don't have. I think that's, in summary, what we've been hearing, what Andrew certainly was saying just now. We are very aware of the whole health issue. I think sometimes we tend to see things in a very kind of concrete and practical way about, complying with the educational authorities and their regulations. And, if you don't do that, your school doesn't function, can't open. So in Mexico, you have the SEP, Secretaría de Educación Pública, and I think we got a pretty good relationship with these folks. But it's been quite a battle, I think, in terms of us saying, what our duty of care, of course, is to the children. I understand what's been said about the staff. To the children, our duty of care. So how much can we risk? How quickly can we go back? The models, the hybrid models, moving towards a presencial. Actually, on Monday, we're going to go back to a 3-day hybrid model and 2 days online. I really enjoyed hearing about the Friday option. Of some of the things that we have encountered now will stay with us because we realize how good they are. So I'm sure Vinay and I and others in the team will be thinking about that idea of, we were in fact discussing it just the other day, of course, the idea of, when do we go to 4, when do we go to 5? Well, perhaps 4 is the new 5. Very, very interesting. One of the things I think has, let's find a silver cloud, a silver edge to the cloud. And I think that the pandemic has been pretty scary, hasn't it? Let's face it. And some of the children have literally been in a lockdown. Some of them haven't been able to get out. Some people have places in the country, or they go to the coast, or they can get out of town, but many not. And it's been very apparent to us as the children have come back how, particularly with the young ones, the work that we need to do, that we need to center on, is very much focused on getting them up to speed with their social skills, with themselves. The little children are quite different. People talk about the famous gap, the little children who don't know in the kinder world, who don't know how to share as they would have shown their teachers a year or so ago. And so we've got to encourage, we've got to really empower the children. I know that's a bit of a cliche, but empower the children and say, you have achieved something that me, Vinay, others, we've never been asked to do, obliged to do, and all credit to you. So every opportunity I can get, simple, old, traditional, old-fashioned thing, everything that I can do to encourage the children, I'm going to do. One little detail, and I'll pass over to you, Vinay, in just a second, please. One detail that we do, that we carry out in the Wingate School, and it's more meaningful in the world of writing, but as of pre-first, our year between Kinder 3 and Form 1, where they go from a total English immersion into, we got Spanish to deal with as well. We have these special agendas that I'm rather keen on, and I can write in it, Vinay can write in it, the parents can see it. It's a confluence, and done well, this little agenda is the summary of their life in 2021, 2022. And it's more than just recording your home learning when it's set, when it's done, but there are lots of opportunities for me as I have the privilege of being the head teacher, for me to be in personal contact with every single student in the school. I'll descend helicopter-wise on a class, and I'll sit by the children and write to them and speak with them while I'm writing to them, but sometimes the speaking has to be reduced. There's only so many hours in the day. And they've got something concrete from me. I'm talking to Diego, I'm talking to Susanita, and the parents can see that. So that personal concern that they know that I care very much for their well-being, both as people and as young academics who are learning, who are on this fantastic route. And so I'll end with this, they sign a document at the beginning of this agenda that says, I understand that respect for everybody else, my teachers and my work, is the #1 rule at the Wingate School. And like that, there's a real confidence building. And we sign a kind of a little contract. These little kids, it's almost like they're selling a house. They sign this piece of paper, and they bind into this community, and they know that to look after each other is far more important to me than a 9.9 or a 10 in a geography module or something like that. So with that, I pass. I know Vinay's got plenty of other good things to say.
Thank you very much, Tom. I'll pick up where Tom left off. I should say I'm new to the Wingate School myself, and so it's been a marvelous experience learning how they do things, how we do things, and finding my place in that community, as Tom was just saying, of the students. In secondary, I'm the head of secondary. We extend the same dynamic that Tom was talking about, that personal connection between students and the school and adults in the school, through a quite successful mentoring program. We assign every student a mentor, a responsible adult in the community, with whom they can talk confidentially about whatever is on their mind. Very much dovetails with some of the earlier comments about supporting students through what has been a difficult time, but certainly in secondary, also a difficult time developmentally. I mean, they're transitioning from primary into secondary. They're transitioning pre-adolescence. There's a lot going on, and I think we found very much that that making sure that we don't leave it up to students to find someone that they feel comfortable talking with, but rather say, look, we have this program. It's an institutionalized program. Here's who your mentor is. And there are regularly scheduled check-ins between student and mentor. I think that's been really, really important, because I don't know that students always know that what they need to do sometimes is just let it all out, is to talk to people about how they're feeling. And I think giving them that opportunity, COC, has been really, really important. The other thing that I wanted to say about best practice, and I think it's particularly important for me as a new member of the community, is being a mission-driven school, right? Being very, very aware of what it is that you see as your mission, holding it as a touchstone, because we're in a time of flux. We're being forced every day to make pretty difficult decisions. And without having that true north that guides us, some of those decisions become pretty stressful. And just one example, we at the Wingate School in secondary, we have a book club. It's 2 days a week, 2 hours a week, during which students read a book. Exactly like it sounds, not for a grade. Even attendance is not formally recorded, although obviously we check in with them if they don't show up. We don't ask them to analyze the book necessarily, or certainly not every day. It's an activity that is focused on the love of reading and the importance of reading. In the time of a pandemic, when we are making such hard choices about whether we have 2 geography lessons or 1 geography lesson because learning time is limited, a school that doesn't know that it cares about books would be extremely hard pressed to make that decision to say, you know what, we're going to give 2 hours a week for book club. And I think the school's clarity about what matters to it is what has held it in very good stead in difficult times. And with that, I will pass over. Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, sir. Can I just add a caveat there? In terms of, I'm reminded actually, because my box is right next to Gabrielle, and at the beginning of this, ladies and gentlemen, I was admiring Gabrielle's private garden. Can you see it behind her? Isn't it beautiful? So not everybody's as lucky as Gabriella, but Andrea alluded to these lovely open fields and things that the Wingate School can use. Where am I going? During the pandemic, we created we have these bubbles, a lot of you will have that, separating groups for obvious reasons. And we have access to a massive ranch next to us, which at the moment is flowering with these wild purple poppies. Beautiful. And just to get the children out, the children who are locked down, with parents going on these long walks through these groves of trees, stunning views. The Estado de Mexico looks like Austria. If you showed a picture of it, people would say, it's not Mexico. Well, it is. Woodland and valleys and greenery. And that opportunity, I think the stats say about 85% of the population of the school went on at least, and some several, on these walks. And that, simple though it sounds, getting out, blue sky, hear the birds, was just what Vinay has been saying, let it all out. And I'm so pleased that we had the sense to realize the importance of that. Perhaps we didn't realize at the beginning how important that was, but we will pick up on that again. We're in the rainy season. It's getting a little drier now, but we've had torrential rain, which has prevented us from doing this. But that, simple though it sounds, was tremendously successful. Back to you, Andrea.
Thanks so much for adding that, Tom. Sometimes we forget that the answer or the thing that we need is right there before our eyes, and being in communion with nature and being outdoors sometimes is just the best remedy, right? When we can just go out there and breathe the fresh air and be surrounded by the flowers. And I
Right.
love what you said about the silver lining of COVID, Tom. Thank you for reminding us that out of every adversity, there's always that little seed for creativity and innovation and change that we've all been so desperately craving for in education. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, it's here in our face. And let's now all transform, right? And I love the way that Vinay brought it all back to a school's mission. And being a mission-driven school, of course, means that when all our decisions are made in the best interest of the children, then we will never lose sight of our true north. So thank you so much for reminding us. What a powerful team, the Wingate School. Thank you for being here with us today, Tom, Vinay.
Gracias.
Gracias, Andrea, Gaby.
Gracias,
Thank-
Andrew. Un abrazo.
Thank you, everyone. And Andrea and Gabby, thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate, as the newbie, being invited to share my thoughts. So we'll be in touch.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Vinay.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thanks, everyone. Lovely to meet all of you.
Yeah.
Thank
Good to meet
you.
you,
Thank you
Vinay.
for
Take care.
everyone.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye. Have
Bye.
a wonderful weekend,
Bye. Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Gracias.